What's up, homies? It's Ryan, and we are back finally after the off-season Out of the Park Baseball 19. So I know a lot of you are subscribed to my channel because you enjoy seeing gameplay of OOTP, so I decided to bring it back again this year. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it, but we definitely will. So we are here at OOTP 19. For those of you that have been around the channel for a while, you'll know that this will be my third Out of the Park Baseball series. We started in OOTP 17 with the Los Angeles Angels. We were never able to win a World Series. We did get to one later on, I believe in 2022 or 2023, somewhere around there, and we played the Pittsburgh Pirates. We were not able, however, to beat the Pittsburgh Pirates. If I remember correctly, we lost in about 5 or 6 games. And last year, of course, the very interesting experience with the Miami Marlins. Jeffrey Loria, one of the worst owners you could possibly ever have in Out of the Park Baseball, and he was not helpful whatsoever. Eventually, we did get a new owner, which, if I remember correctly, was his son, so that did not help us out much. We did not even make a World Series with the Miami Marlins. We did make the playoffs a couple times, but we did not end up winning a World Series. We went 10 years, and we did not end up getting to our ultimate goal. But we are back here on Out of the Park Baseball 19, the new baseball game by the guys over at Out of the Park Developments. And I have decided on the team. I will say it was a little difficult. It was down to 3 teams at one point, but I'm pretty confident in the team that I have selected. They have not made the playoffs in a while. Their farm system is a little barren, but you guys know that's normally what I look for when I choose a team here. I toyed around with the idea of choosing a really good team and seeing if I could just keep them at the top. But you guys know that I like to take these teams that are kind of, middle of the pack, maybe a little lower than that. They have some guys on the team. The farm systems aren't that great. And I try to not only build up the major league roster, but build up the depth in the minor league system as well, and try to make this team a perennial contender year in and year out. And to this point in my Out of the Park Baseball career on YouTube, we've made, I think, teams better than they were when I inherited them, but we have still not been able to bring a championship to that city. So hopefully we are able to do that this year in Out of the Park Baseball 19. I do want to say before we get started that these videos, sporadic is not the right word to describe it, but they're probably only going to be once, maybe twice a week, depending on what I'm doing, until early May. So for those of you that do not know, I'm currently away at college, and I do not really have the ability to record these every day like I used to the past couple of years. So I think one, maybe twice a week is about how much these videos will be released, as I said, until early May, when I finish up with my junior year of college, and then I will be back at my regular home an hour and 15 minutes away, and I will be able to put these out a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little more regularly when I go home. So we're doing these once, maybe twice a week for about the next month or so, and then we will be able to crank these babies out a little more regularly. But having said that, I have already set up the game. I know what team I'm doing. I will say that the final 3 teams that I considered came down to the Royals, the Brewers, and the Mariners. And as you can see, we ended up going with the Seattle Mariners. Now, everyone knows the story about the Mariners. They were very good in the very early 2000s. They made the ALCS in 2000 and 2001, but that was the furthest they ever got. They have never even made a World Series, and they have not made the postseason since that year, 2001, when they had one of the best records any baseball team has ever compiled. And we are going to try our best not only to get them back to the postseason, hopefully fairly quickly, but also to not only let them get to a World Series, but win their first World Series ever. So the Seattle Mariners, and also just as another side note, you might be able to tell I do not have my pop filter that I normally do at home. So if you hear any pops in the microphone, just know that that is the reason why. And when I go back home, I will be able to put the pop filter back over my microphone, and it will sound a little better. So just bear with me here for the next month or so. It's kind of bare bones production at this point, but we will make it do what it do. So I did make a couple changes to the settings. For those of you that have been around the channel for a while, you'll know that the first episode is mainly just going over the settings that I've chosen, going over the roster, looking at the minor league system, just getting the basic stuff out of the way. And then in episode 2, we kind of start the simulation and go from there. I use the 20 to 80 scale just because that's what the actual scouts in the major leagues use, and I'm just more comfortable with that. I'm trying to think of what I actually changed. Save box scores from only human organizations. That just keeps the save file a little less heavy than it otherwise would be. Players in face gen, I disabled the baseball cards and load player pictures automatically. Mainly just the baseball cards. It's just a tip for those of you that might have the game for the first time. If you have baseball cards enabled, every year around the All-Star break, it creates a baseball card for every player that was selected to the All-Star game rosters, and depending on what type of computer you have, it does tend to take a little bit of time. So if you disable that, you don't have to sit through that loading screen that, it could take a while. So I definitely recommend disabling baseball cards. Unless you like them. I know there are some people out there that enjoy the baseball card aspect of out-of-the-park baseball, so if you like them, more power to you. But I personally am not a huge fan, so I have disabled that option. We have player pictures for all players. We are going to create them on demand. We also have coach pictures for all coaches, scouts, and managers. And so this is a big thing. So I feel as though, especially in out-of-the-park baseball, the players tend to age a little faster than they have in real life. So, of course, you have a guy like Ichiro, who is now playing into his mid-40s. This game, he probably would have retired, many years ago. So I like to take these aging speeds down to 0.750. I found that to be the sweet spot, to where you'll have both pitchers and batters playing well into their mid to late 30s like they currently do. And that won't happen every time with every 30, 5-plus-year-old, but it allows that possibility, which I think is a little more realistic. I used to change the talent change randomness to 125. I'm going to keep that at 100 just this time, just to see what happens, and if I don't like it, then I will change, but we're going to keep it at 100 for right now. Now, as you can see, I am in challenge mode, and there are some things that you cannot change. Two of them are the trading AI settings and the player evaluation AI settings. So in challenge mode, the trading difficulty is hard and the trading preference is neutral. Normally, I like to go for very hard and heavily favored prospects, but I am in challenge mode, so I cannot change that. We will see if it's easy to fleece the AI using these settings. I hope it's not, but if it is, I will do my best not to fleece the AI in any trades that I make. And normally, I don't like to sit with the 65, 20, 10, 5 AI evaluation settings. They usually like to change that, but I cannot change that either. So we will have to live with it and just see if it works. I don't believe there's anything in here until we get to league settings. We did not change anything in league and teams rules. I think I just did one thing. I allow the trading of injured players that have been injured for more than 7 days, because you can do that in real life. I know as a Phillies fan, several years ago, we made a trade with the Rangers, and in that trade, we acquired Matt Harrison, who had been injured for a long period of time. So you can do that in the major leagues. I'm not going to allow draft pick trading. It's just not something that I'm a huge fan of in this game. I think in real life, it could definitely work, but I think in this game, it's a little too easy to get these high draft picks. So we have that disabled. I think that was one of the last things I did. I did not change anything in financials, options. This is another big thing too. If you're just starting out the game and you want to add a little more realism, when you look at these awards, the offensive award, which is known as the Silver Slugger in real life, is called the Platinum Stick Award in this game. And the defensive award, which is known as the Gold Glove Award in real life, is known as the Great Glove Award. So if you just want to add a little more realism, totally up to you. But you can just change it from the Platinum Stick Award to the Silver Slugger Award, and the Great Glove Award to the Gold Glove Award. I've toyed around with disabling automatic evolution of the league, but I figured it just adds a nice little addition to the series. Just, maybe there's a team that relocates or a team that expands in, and you have to protect your players. So I figured I would keep that in. Did I change anything else here? No, I did not. I did change a couple things over here, I believe, yes. So normally when you go into the game, influence of popularity and all-star vote, that is normally at high. I like to change it to moderate just because popularity will still play a role, but also it lends to the possibility of players who maybe aren't as popular but are having very good seasons. So I like to keep that to moderate. I think low kind of messes with it a little too much. I like to keep it at moderate. I think it's a nice change of pace from high. I did not enable allowing the All-Star game to decide home field for the final playoff round, otherwise known as the World Series. I think that was a very stupid rule that the league held for a number of years. I'm glad they got rid of it. I also have enabled the option, which is already enabled, so I should say I did not disable the option, to force all teams to be represented at the All-Star game. I know some people have an issue with that. I'm not one of them. I think it's a neat idea, so we are going to go with that. I did not change anything with players, did nothing with historical, and I don't think I did anything with this. In the past, some of you may know that I have changed the use of closers to very rarely, and utilized like the fireman type role, the stoppers, who tend to just come in when they need to, as opposed to the closer, who tends to come in like in the 9th inning. And for those of you that know, I hate the save statistic. I think it is one of the stupidest stats in baseball right now, right up there with the win and the quality start for pitchers. So I'm not a big fan of the save. It makes, I think, people look a little more valuable than they actually are. But in any case, we are going to now go into our team. We're going to take a look at our team and go. Let's just check we'll go to the pitching staff first. We'll start with the pitching staff. And this is, it's not an awful pitching staff to inherit. You'd like it to maybe be a little better, but it's not the worst pitching staff in the world. Of course, it is led by our southpaw ace, James Paxton. He is 29 years old. Seems like he has been around not that long. Like, I was very surprised to see that he was 29 years old when I was writing out my team preview for the Mariners, but he is 29 years old. You see he's making $4.9 million. He just had the best season of his career in 2017. He pitched to a 2.98 ERA in 24 starts. He only pitched at 136 innings, but that was the most of his major league career, so that was nice. He's dealt with injuries over his career and just general inconsistency, so it was nice to see him kind of have that really good year that people have been waiting for a while. So he will be our ace. As you see, he's in arbitration as of right now. He's been in the majors for 3 years, so we will have him in arbitration for a couple more years, which is nice. Felix Hernandez, of course, everyone knows he was one of the best pitchers in baseball for a period of time from about 2010 onward, but the Mariners kind of wasted away his prime, which is kind of unfortunate. And as you see, he's kind of regressed, or not regressed, but started to decline a little bit over the last several seasons. So hopefully he can just hold on a little bit. You see, we have him signed through 2019. He's currently making $26 million, which is a lot of money for a pitcher who is not that great anymore. But hopefully he can just hold on for these next 2 years. I'm not going to trade him. I'm going to let him just play out his career in Seattle. Unless someone offers me, I will say this as a caveat, unless someone offers me a decent package for King Felix, I'm not going to trade him. Just let him play out his career in Seattle, and then if he wants to leave after his contract's up, so be it. If he wants to retire, he can do that too. But I don't think I'll trade him unless I get a very good offer. But I doubt I would get a good offer because he's not as good as he once was. And then with the salary, it's just a lot of hoops to jump through to try to trade him. We have Mike Leake. He is now on the team. He started the season with the Cardinals in 2017 before he was moved to Seattle late in the season. And he wasn't that bad with Seattle. You see, he pitched to a 2.53 ERA, albeit it was in 5 starts, 32 innings. His ratings are not very good. His main thing is that he'll be able to eat some innings for us. He's 30 years old. The salary is a bit of an issue. And as you see, he signed through 2021, so he's not on the best contract, but we'll try to make it work. He does have 5 pitches. None of them are particularly effective. He has the okay sinker, the okay changeup, but everything other than that is a bit of an issue. But you see personality, which is very important in out-of-the-park baseball. He puts in long hours and has a good head on his shoulders. He's well respected by his teammates. That's always good to have guys like that on your team. I've definitely learned that in the past. He's an extreme ground ball pitcher too, and that doesn't really matter at a place like Safeco Field where the Mariners play, but it's always good to have ground ball pitchers. You'd much rather have them, obviously, than fly ball pitchers. We have Marco Gonzalez, the 26-year-old. He has only been in the league for 102 days, so if he turns out to be solid, then we will be in good shape. You see, last year it was his major league debut. He had the cup of coffee in 2017 with the Cardinals and another cup of coffee in 2015 with the St. Louis Cardinals. But he started 2 games in 3 seasons because he was not up in 2016 at all. Last year with the Mariners, he made 7 starts. He appeared in 10 games total. He had the 5.40 ERA. You see he allowed 5 home runs. He struck out 30 while walking 11. The whip of 1.75. So we will see if he can just be a dependable back of the rotation arm. Not really expecting too much out of Mr. Marco Gonzalez, but if he could just become just a suitable back of the rotation arm over the next couple of years, I would be content. And finally, Erasmo Ramirez. He used to be with the Mariners, then he went to the Tampa Bay Rays, and now he came back to the Seattle Mariners last year. I kind of like him more in a bullpen role, but it looks like we are going to have to use him in a starting role, at least initially, just because I don't trust anybody else to take that starting role. So we will have to go with Mr. Ramirez. I think he can be a solid fifth starter and swingman on a good contending team. But we will have to use him as our fifth starter, at least initially. If we can find a better option on the waiver wire, I might have to jump at that. So we'll have to wait and see how Erasmo will do. He wasn't too bad with Seattle last year. He made 11 starts. He pitched to a 3.92 ERA, 54 strikeouts to 15 walks. The home runs per 9 of 1.7 was a little bit of an issue. You see, he let up 12 home runs in just 62 innings. That is not what you want. But we will see if he can be a suitable rotation arm for us. I do like the bullpen. It is led by Edwin Diaz, who, as of right now, is our closer. I don't really like that role of closer, especially in today's Major League Baseball landscape, but he's our closer for what it's worth. He can get the velocity up there. You see it sits at 97 to 99 with his fastball. Last year, he made 66 appearances. He pitched to a 3.27 ERA in 66 innings. He struck out 89, walked 32. He allowed 10 home runs in 66 innings. You see he has 3+ pitches in the fastball, the slider, and the changeup. And as you can see, he's only been in the league for 1 year, so we will have him under team control for a while, which is nice. We also have Juan Nicasio, who has 2+ pitches in his fastball and his slider. He was a failed starter with the Rockies. He looked kind of solid with the Pirates when he did start, but he is mainly just a relief arm now, and he is a very good relief arm. I will give him that. You see he has the stuff and the control, which is always good. He has the 2+ pitches in the fastball and the slider. He'll sit up there at 94 to 96. Now, he will allow his fair share of home runs. You see he's a fly ball pitcher. But as I mentioned, he will be playing games regularly in Safeco Field, so I'm not too concerned about that. 31 years old. We have him for, let's just see, $7.5 million until the end of 2019, so the next 2 years, which is fantastic. We also have guys like Nick Vincent, David Phelps, Sean Armstrong, Mark Zepsinski, and James Passos. A lot of Z's in this bullpen. So I'm happy with the bullpen. I think it's probably overall better than our starting rotation. So if our starting rotation, I think, could just get us through 5, maybe 6 innings, with the occasional 7, 8 inning start, I think the bullpen will be able to hold it down. That's the best case scenario. Of course, the worst case is that the rotation completely flames out, the bullpen gets too tired, and the pitching staff as a whole is just awful. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Ideally, it'll be somewhere in the middle, and that helps keep us in contention. Looking at the lineup, this was a little overhauled. You see D. Gordon is now going to be the center fielder for the Seattle Mariners. He was acquired in the offseason from the Miami Marlins. And you know what D. Gordon is at this point? He is a high-contact guy. He kind of provides that empty batting average. Now, to his credit, he does have some gap power, but he's a high-contact guy. He's not going to strike out a ton. He has a ton of speed, so he's a great leadoff hitter, of course. He'll run the bases very well. He'll steal bags. He's never played center field in the major leagues. I checked on Fangraphs. He's never played center field in the major leagues, but I think he will be able to. At least OOTP thinks he'll be able to. They say he has the good outfield range. He has a solid arm to play center field. It's passable, and his position rating right now, he's a 60-grade center fielder. So we'll see. We have him until 2021. This is a guy that I might look to trade if things start to go south for sure, but we will wait and see. Of course, we have Robinson Cano, the second baseman who came over from the Yankees in the 2013 offseason. And it's no coincidence. In 2014 and 2016, he had solid years, at least according to WAR, 4.6 and 5.1. And those were the years that the Mariners did pretty well. And in 2015 and 2017, he had solid years, to his credit. But those are the years that the Mariners finished not as good. So we will see if Cano can have another solid year. He's 35 years old. He's not getting any younger. We have him until 2023, so it's going to be a long time. You see, he is making $24 million. I would really consider trading him at some point just to get out of this contract, not because it's an albatross, but just because I worry that he's going to start declining soon. So I would definitely like to trade him because this is a guy that definitely still has some value. I would be willing to to eat some money if I can get a decent prospect package back, because we need to get prospects back. This farm system is not very good, and I will get into that in a bit. We have Kyle Seager, who had a bit of a down year last year. It's probably one of the worst years of his major league career, but the peripherals would indicate that he should bounce back in 2018. As you can see, Corey's brother is Mr. Seager. He has a solid hit tool. He can definitely hit out, between 25 and 30 homers a year. He has a solid approach at the plate. We have him until 2022 on a solid contract as long as he keeps his production up. He's only 30 years old, so this contract is not an albatross either. This is another guy that if things start to go really south, I might look to trade, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Nelson Cruz will be our DH. People thought that he was going to finally fall off last year, but he did not. You see, he fell off from 43 home runs to just 39. So clearly he's falling off. In all seriousness, he has the solid hit tool. That's about all he offers at this point. He cannot play the field. He can't run the bases, but he still has the nice power tool. He has the ability to get on base. You see, he had 140 strikeouts to 70 walks. That's a solid ratio, especially at 37 years of age. So Nelson Cruz, hopefully he does not fall off. We have him until the end of this year. Now, I believe our owner wants us to re-sign him. I don't know if I want to do that, especially he's going to be 38 years old next year. He's actually going to be 38 in July, so I don't know if I want to do that. We'll have to wait and see how he performs. Maybe we'll trade him to a contender. We'll have to wait and see. Mitch Haniger will be the right fielder. He accumulated 410 plate appearances last year and slashed 282, 352, 491. That was an OPS of 843. He was a 2-win player. He's solid in the field, especially in right field. He's a 65 grade right fielder. He has solid range, a nice arm. He's a spray hitter. He has gap power. He can hit it out. He's probably not going to have as high of an average as he did in 2017 with us. That will probably fall off just a little bit, but still he'll be a solid outfielder for us, especially he's only making $545,000. That is definitely ideal. Gene Segura is, I think, one of the more underappreciated players in Major League Baseball as of right now, and I think he's going to be a nice guy for us to have on the team. Take a look at his contract. He's making $9 million this year, and that jumps up to $14 million from 2019 to 2022. So we'll have to wait and see if he's going to be worth that. If not, maybe I'll look to get rid of him. He is 27 years old. He has a solid hit tool. He can avoid strikeouts. He has speed. He can play the field pretty well, more so at second base than shortstop, but he will be our starting shortstop because we have Robinson Cano at second base. Last year, he hit 300, 349, 427. He struck out 83 times. He walked 34. He had 11 home runs. He stole 22 bases, so he does have kind of, I'd say, maybe 15, 20 potential. Maybe he can get up there to 20 home runs if we're really lucky, but I'm not banking on it. Let's see, anybody else? Mike Zunino, he had the breakout year that people were expecting. He hit 25 home runs. I doubt he's going to be able to do that again. The peripherals would indicate that he's a prime regression candidate. You see, he's considered one of the team leaders and has a good head on his shoulders, but he won't form a long-term attachment to a team, which is good because I think this is a guy, especially if he gets off to a hot start, I might look to move just because I don't think he's ever going to be able to repeat what he did in 2017. I doubt that that's going to happen. We have Taylor Motter in left field. You see, his main value comes from the fact that he can play a lot of different positions. Not any of them particularly well, but he can play first, second, third, short, left, center, right. So he can play any position on the field, which is a nice luxury to have, especially out of a bench player. He's only making $545,000. He's been in the league for 1 year. Last year, he was not very effective at the plate. He hit just 198, 257, 326. So he was below the Mendoza line. We also have Ichiro Suzuki, who I'm going to try to look to get playing time. You see, he is the backup left fielder, and look at all those accolades Mr. Suzuki has accumulated over his time in the majors. He's 44 years old. I think that I'm going to end up probably having him play a lot in left field because you can see he still plays a solid left and right field from a defensive standpoint. So I think he's probably going to play left field. I don't like this every 15th game. I think, in fact, I might actually make him the starter. I'll have to wait and see. I'll have to see what I'm feeling. And then finally, Ryan Healy. This guy was acquired from the Oakland Athletics over the offseason. His main calling card is power. He had 25 home runs and 605 plate appearances with the Athletics last year, a year after hitting 13 and 283. That's really about all he can do. His approach at the plate is not great. You see, he struck out 142 times. He walked 23. He hit 271, 302, 451, but he's kind of another guy that might end up regressing. I doubt he'll be able to to hold on to that high average, but just have to wait and see. I'm not a huge fan of Ryan Healy, to be honest. He's kind of just keeping the seat warm for one of the Mariners prospects. We'll get into that guy in just a second. But that's how we're looking right now with the Seattle Mariners. I will go to my mailbox right now. So you see Ryan Waldis takes control in Seattle. As you can see, I was not creative whatsoever, so I chose my own name. I did not make a picture for myself, although that does not look terribly inaccurate. The facial hair is inaccurate, but it's not terribly. It's actually, yeah. I mean, that's pretty good, I suppose. The 21-year-old native of the United States was questioned for several minutes by reporters about his goals and hopes for the club. Some local media are praising the signing as a good one, while others feel Waldis is in over his head. I would agree with that. Maybe I am. Could you imagine a 21-year-old general manager and manager in Major League Baseball? I would definitely say that person is in over their head as well. Welcome to the Seattle Mariners organization. This is from our owner, Howard Lincoln. I trust that our working relation will be a good one. I will submit some new goals each year that I would like to see you accomplish. Right now I have owner goals enabled. I don't know if I'm going to keep them enabled. I'm going to wait and see. But as of right now, I'm going to keep them enabled. As well as winning on the field and turning profit, completing these goals is the best way to keep me happy. So this season, he wants us to play 500 ball, which I think we'll be able to do that. Sign Nelson Cruz to an extension. Not a big fan of that goal. Acquire a Cy Young Award winner. Don't know how I'm going to do that. If Lincecum is still somehow on the free agent market, maybe I'll do that, but we'll see. I don't know how I'm going to acquire a Cy Young Award winner. I don't really have a lot of assets to trade. Keep building your team up in order to reach the playoffs in the next 4 seasons. I will check in periodically throughout the year with your progress. Good luck, Howard Lincoln. So if we go to the team home screen, I want to go to the front office real quick. This was a huge this made me very happy. Fiscal personality generous, so he will not have to worry. Although he is 78, so he might die soon, but I feel so bad saying that. But he is generous, so it's nice. He'll probably be able to give us some money to help us out. You see his involvement is normal, balanced. He's currently delighted, lenient. He's very patient. It's a shame this guy's 78 years old, because this is the type of guy that I would love to have as a member of this team. And if you just heard that, just door slammed behind me. Taking a look at finances right now, I'm going to go into salaries in a second. So we currently have $14 million for free agents, $23 million for extensions. We're in a big market. Fan interest is nice at 69. Fan loyalty is average, which is fine. Currently, our ticket prices are $24.25. I might look to change that at some point. We'll have to wait and see how the finances go. And looking at salaries now, so you see we have Felix for $26 million this year, $27 next year. Cano is $24 million until 2022 when he has that team option, and then he falls down to 2020. In 2023, he's still at $24 million. Kyle Seager, we have him locked up until 2021. 2022 is a team option. Mike Leake, he goes down $1 million each year, but I would love to get that contract off the books because this is not really the kind of arm I would want on my team. Nelson Cruz, we have him for 1 more year. D. Gordon, his contract goes up starting in 2019 at $13 million. Segura's contract goes up in 2019. Nicasio's goes up in 2019. And then every one of these other guys is either on a 1-year deal or they are in, they're either too young or they're in arbitration. So it's not the worst salary situation I've ever been a part of, but there are definitely some contracts that I might look to get rid of just to kind of clean house a little bit. Look at the upcoming free agents on the team. So the big one, of course, is Nelson Cruz. A lot of these other guys are kind of on the other. They're either on the younger side or they're just minor league depth or guys that we probably will not look to bring back. But the big name on this is Nelson Cruz. Now, player development, I want to see if my scout is any good. I hope that he is. Not looking the best. So I might look to get a different scout. I'll probably keep the pitching coach and the hitting coach. Might look to get a different team trainer if there's one available, but yeah, I'm not going to make too many changes to the staff until the end of the season. So we'll keep DePoto, we'll keep Acta, Stottlemyre Jr., Edgar Martinez is our hitting coach, which is fantastic. But I'm not going to make too many changes to our coaching staffs until the end of the campaign. So take a look at rosters and transactions. Just take a look at our top prospects. So right now in AAA, we have a couple guys here. We have this starting pitcher who I'm going to butcher his pronunciation, Max Povsey. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So right now he is in AAA. He has an expectation to be playing in the majors. Nice Twitter handle, TallWall22. I like that. He was in the majors for 16 days in 2017 with the Mariners. So he had a cup of coffee. He made 3 appearances, pitched 3.2 innings. He had a 7.36 ERA. His calling card is his command when he's pitching, because you see he doesn't really have the stuff. He doesn't really have the movement. He has a plus pitch in that changeup. That fastball could be kind of interesting maybe. As you see, his current role is probably going to be a bullpen or emergency starter. In the future, he might be a starter. It depends if that curveball ever develops. I might give him a shot as a starter, but I might want to just keep him in the bullpen. That might be a little safer, although he doesn't really have the stuff either, so I don't know what I'm going to do with him. We have Mike Ford in the minor league system. He is the first baseman, not the first baseman I was talking about. So I want to look to see. So this is the first baseman I was talking about. This is Dan Vogelbach. He is currently in AAA. So he's been in the major leagues twice. He was there for 8 games in 2016 and 16 games in 2017. Has not really put it all together at the major league level, but this is still one of their top prospects. You see, he can have a solid hit tool. He's probably not going to be great in the field, mild-mannered on and off the field. I would love for this guy to kind of progress to be our starting first baseman for the next several years. We'll have to wait and see if that's what happens, and it's actually probably going to be easier just to do this. Yeah, so we have Kyle Lewis. This was their first-round pick in 2016, I want to say. I think it was 2016. Let's take a look. Contract. I know there's a way to do it. Maybe the BNN page. I forget how to. I'm pretty. Oh, history. That's what I want to do. Yeah, 2016 MLB Amateur Draft. So he was the 11th overall pick in that draft class. Was Kyle Lewis. His main calling card is his power. He can definitely be a 25+ home run year guy. As you see, he's probably never going to have a high average. His approach at the plate, hopefully, will not be awful. Just. If he can give me, he's not going to be like a Joey Gallo who's going to blast out, close to 40, 45 and, get on base at a very high clip. But if he can be like a lighter version of that, I would not be too upset. He's 22 years old, so we'll see if he can make the majors at some point over the next couple of years. It would be nice to see. He just finished the year at high A, so it'll probably take him a couple of years to get through. Right now, he's still with the Modesto Nuts in the California League. So if he can get through AA by the end of this year, maybe get to AAA by 2019 at some point, I would be content. We have Sam Carlson. He is currently in rookie ball. OSA seems to like him a little more than our head scout. So we will see what he can do. It seems that he will have kind of okay stuff. He's another guy where it seems like control is a big thing with him. OSA seems to like his stuff and movement more than our head scout currently does. It seems like he could have maybe 2 solid pitches. OSA seems to think that he might have 3 if everything develops correctly, but we'll have to wait and see. Evan White, Joe Rizzo, as I mentioned, Dan Vogelbach, Popsy, O'Neill Pena, Joseph Rosa, just some of the top prospects in this organization. You see, we do have Ben Gamel, so he will be back in 11 days. I might send him on just a quick rehab assignment when he comes back. See, he suffered that injury on March 5th, 2018. So when he comes back, he will be one of our starting outfielders. He had a solid year last year, but he fell off as the year went on. Overall, he slashed 275, 322, 413 for an OPS of 735, 11 home runs, 122 strikeouts, 36 walks. He plays a solid defensive left field. He's probably going to regress a little bit, but I still think he can be a suitable outfielder for us. And I think that's about everything I needed to go over. If we take a look here at the top prospects just for us. So our top 10, a lot of them are batters: Kyle Lewis, Evan White, Joe Rizzo, Dan Vogelbach, O'Neill Pena, Joseph Rosa, Mike Ford, and Braden Bishop are all in our top 10 organizational prospects, and they are batters. We only have 2 pitchers in the top 10, and they are Sam Carlson and Max Popsy. I also just want to take a look and see where we are in terms of the league, in terms of minor league system rankings. And just click on it here, get rid of that. So we are, where are we? So we are 24th in the league. We have Kyle Lewis, who OSA seems to think is a top 50 prospect. He is currently 42nd on the list. The Padres have the best farm system right now, according to this game. Fernando Tatis Jr., I believe that is, Michael Baez? Yeah, Michael Baez. Mackenzie Gore, Luis Urias, Morgan. The Blue Jays are second. I forgot that they have a pretty solid farm system. Braves, let me see what they project Acuna that seems, I think I kind of like OSA's ratings a little more. He is going to be a heck of a ball player. Now I'm a Phillies fan. It's going to be tough going up against this guy as much as the Phillies will since they're in the same division, but he's going to be a lot of fun to watch as long as he pans out. Knock on wood. Shohei Ohtani, let's take a look at his ratings. Wow, that is pretty good. He is going to be a heck of a player. I wanted the Phillies to get him, and yeah, he can hit and he can pitch. And the cool thing is that since we're in the same division as the Angels, we will get to see this guy a lot, so we'll get to see how he develops for sure. But your Mariners are 24th. I think that's the only thing. Let me, if we can take a look, the preseason predictions. Oh, so we're still in spring training. Okay, whoops. Yeah, so I think in the next episode, we'll take a look at the preseason predictions. We'll start the simulation. Take a look here to see who's on the free agent market, maybe just to see if there's anybody intriguing. Rosenthal's still out there. When is he going to be out until? He's going to be out until, okay, he's going to be out for a while. So that's, let's see. Is there anybody else intriguing? It doesn't look like it. There's Seth Smith. Steven Drew's there. Prince Fielder, he's not going to be back. Oh, whoops. Okay, so this is just pages. I'd like to get rid of that. It doesn't really look like there's anyone too. Is there like any intriguing prospects? Maybe this guy seems like he could be maybe an intriguing piece. He was with the Tigers last year. Not a lot of control though. Normally relievers, you'd like to see their control ratings a little better than that. That's very worrisome. So we're not going to take a chance on him. Let's see. This Bryant Aponte guy seems like he could be solid. So we'll give him a minor league deal. For a minor league contract. We'll just give some of these guys minor league deals, see if they develop. He'll never hit for a high average, but he has power. And power is always important, especially in today's major league landscape, so we'll take a shot at him. Seems like he could be maybe a solid player if things pan out. Nice bench guy. Maybe this Yoel Andujar guy. Ooh, this guy seems like he could be kind of solid, so we'll offer him a minor league contract. We probably don't have room for a lot of these guys. I imagine we're kind of up close to the limit for the amount of guys we're allowed to have in our organization, but yeah, we'll just give those guys some contracts. Just young. Oh, this guy seems like he could be good if he pans out. No home run power, but yeah, we're going to give him a contract for sure. Offer him a minor league contract, and we'll stick with those four guys just to see. Go back to overall rating. Let's see here. Is there anybody else intriguing? Let's take a look. Mark Lowe, Manship, Anthony Renato, that's a former Red Sox prospect. Does not look like there's anyone that would pique my interest. Now, Jose Bautista is still out there, but we don't really, if we needed a DH, I would kind of maybe mess around with that a little bit, but we don't need a DH. Same thing with Billy Butler. Melky Cabrera, if we needed a DH, I would take a look at him. Although I might... He's not an awful guy to have. I mean, he's better than what we currently have. I think I'd rather have him out there instead of Ben Gamel, to be honest with you. So we'll think about it. We'll think about signing a guy like Melky Cabrera. I know he's not the best, but Prince Fielder, of course, he will never be able to play again. As you see, 166 to 167 months. He will never be able to play again. He suffered a career-ending injury, which is unfortunate because during his prime, he was one of the most exciting players to watch just because of his power. You see, in 2007, he hit 50 home runs. So it's a shame that his career had to end the way it did. I'm just seeing who else is out here. Mario Hollins, former Phillies guy. Garrett Jones is still there. Wow. Did not even know that he was still in the league. Brett Lawrie. Hector Luna, he was on the Phillies for a bit. Just looking for like all these Phillies guys. Justin Masterson, is this the... Yeah, so this was the guy that was like with the Indians there for a while. Then he went over to St. Louis, went to Boston. Now it seems like he's just kicking around in the minor leagues. Vinny Pastano, he's with the Indians for a while. Brandon Moss. Mark Reynolds is out there. He's with the Rockies last year. He has power and not much else. So he strikes out a fair bit. Don't need a first baseman right now, so we will let him go. Jesus Montero, former Mariner. I love doing this because you just see all these names that you haven't heard in forever. Chin-Meng Wang is still there, which is fantastic. I'm not going to sign him, but that's pretty cool to see him. Ryan Webb, I think he was an Athletic at one point. No, who am I thinking of? Oh, no, I'm not. I forget what his name was, but it wasn't Ryan. It was Ryan something. I remember that. Villanueva, he was a Cub, I believe. Yeah, he was a Cub and a Brewer. Giovanni Soto, Houston Street is out there. That's kind of intriguing. He's a guy that we might take a look at later on. He only wants $1.6 million, so he's a guy that we might take a look at. Who else do we have here? We have Henderson Alvarez. He was with the Phillies for a few starts last season. Chris Coghlan, Ike Davis is out there. Yuri De La Rosa, Abdelem De Los Santos, Matt Duffy, the other Matt Duffy. Franklin Gutierrez, the former Mariners guy. That year in 2009 when he hit 18 home runs. Injuries have kind of messed him up. As you see, he's fragile. It's a shame. If it wasn't for injuries, he probably could have been a nice outfielder for the Mariners for a period of time, but injuries kind of messed him up, which is upsetting. Eric Adele. Is there anybody here? Now we're getting to like a lot of the one-star guys. Ricky Weeks, I believe he was on the Mariners for like a bit. Yeah, so he was on there in 2015. The one he was with the Brewers. He had like that nice 2-3 year stretch before he started falling off, which is a shame. Dustin Ackley, Mariner. Yeah, okay. So now we're just getting into like the yeah. So that'll just about do it. Excuse me for my nostalgia trip. That'll just about do it for this first episode of Out of the Park Baseball 19. Seattle Mariners going to look to get them back to the playoffs for the first time. Oh, nope, not retired numbers. Those are the retired numbers if you're interested. Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr., and then, of course, Jackie Robinson. We're going to get this team back to the playoffs for the first time since 2001. Hopefully we can do that. This team has not made the playoffs in a very long time. Hopefully we're going to be able to do that. We're not going to be able to go 116-46. That will not be able to be done, but hopefully we can get this team to the playoffs, get them to a World Series, win a title for the first time ever. You see, they've never won a title, and hopefully I'm finally able to win the first World Series out of any YouTube OOTP franchise that I've done. So I want to thank you all for watching. I also want to say, if you're still watching, that if you have any questions about this game, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you want me to like create maybe some tutorials for this game, that way if you're new, you kind of have like some kind of baseline as to what to do. Because I know I've had people reach out to me before saying, oh, this game, I started playing it, it's just there's so much to do. What do you recommend, or what should I do? I'm very confused. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to just leave a comment. And as I said, if you want to see maybe some tutorial videos, I could try my best to get some of those out as well, especially since we're very early in the game's life cycle. Maybe they would be of help not only to all of you, but to maybe some people that have just gotten the game as well. So let me know if you're interested in that. But, yep, we will be the Seattle Mariners in Out of the Park Baseball 19, as I mentioned. About one video, maybe two a week for the next month or so until I go home. As I said, I'm currently at college. So when I go home, I'll be able to pump these out more regularly. But as for right now, 1 to 2 videos a week will be the norm. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in episode number 2 when we will start the simulation. Thanks for watching, guys.